And so returns a familiar nameplate with the launch of the Moto Guzzi Stelvio. So named, I have to imagine, after Passo dello Stelvio, the Stelvio Pass, one of the most iconic roads in the world. You know the one. Anyway, this is the second bike built on Moto Guzzi's all-new platform with a 1042cc longitudinal twin, its beating heart. It follows the Mandello, and if the V100 Mandello is a sports tourer, then this is an adventure tourer. Taller, more comfortable, and with some off-road credentials. Anyway, compared to the Mandello, it has taller suspension, as I say. More upright ergonomics with a larger seat. Increased wind protection, though we don't see those active flaps of the V100 Mandello. However, the wind protection on this thing is fantastic. It's a highlight. We have an electronically adjustable windscreen, which works tremendously well. A 19-inch front wheel, wire spoked, of course. Some dual sport tyres, which are fantastic. And quite a number of chassis changes, overall making things more rigid, using the engine as a stressed member. A couple more things on spec which are important before I tell you what this thing's like to ride. We've got a 6-axis IMU, 5-inch TFT screen, front and rear radar. Now, notably, you'll have to pay extra for an up-down quick shifter, heated grips, and interestingly, despite having a front radar, we don't get active cruise control as yet, though I'm told that that may be made available in due course. Now, the headline for me with this bike is torque. Torque. This thing is a guts factory. Phenomenal. There's something about the frequency of this bike at low revs which just, it puts me in some kind of morphine trance. It really is lovely. I want to believe it's to do with Moto Guzzi's rich heritage and stubbornly Italian ethos. I just want to believe it. Either way, it is creamy. It is one of the most pleasant engines at the low end of the rev range I can recall in recent memory. It is lovely. So this comes from Moto Guzzi's, I guess you'd say, proprietary longitudinal twin configuration. But Moto Guzzi is not just trading on charm here. This thing really works. This engine is a performer. Make no mistake about it. This bike's really blown me away on a twisty road. It's where it surprised me the most. It's a beautiful canyon carver. It's easy to ride, it's composed, it's great under brakes, and it's just been an absolute blast to ride on a windy bit of road. Phenomenal and deceptively fast. Because of that torque, it's immense. I find myself only being between 3,000 and 6,000 RPM. It doesn't really matter what gear you're in. You've got an absolute animal right there, seemingly all the time, and it makes you ride deceptively fast on a windy road. These dual sport tyres, I say it all the time, they've done some magic. They work so well on the road and the dirt now. It's fantastic. Lesser and lesser is there a compromise. Speaking of which, this bike does ride on the dirt okay, and we've actually spent quite a bit of time on some dirt roads. Look, you've only got 170 millimeters of travel at both ends from this sack suspension. It does all right. The front end gets found out when you start pushing it hard. And look, it doesn't handle the big bumps so well. But this bike sort of lands on that elusive adventure bike spectrum between, you know, off-road and road bias. If you wanted to put a figure on it, I'd say 60-40. It's not necessarily a bike that eggs me on to ride hard on the dirt, but it handles the stuff you'll see us doing today. In terms of ergonomics, the bars work quite well in a standing position, though it's quite a wide motorcycle, and the foot pegs are tiny. I almost felt like my feet were rolling off the sides of them, and in fact the arches of my feet got a bit sore over time. They're just so small. I feel like if I owned this motorcycle, I'd be putting some chunkier pegs on it for sure. Moto Guzzis are not for everyone. They're a particular animal. But what this platform proves to me is that it's not all about heritage and charm. This is a sophisticated and highly capable premium adventure tourer.